Toomey, a junior English literature major from Columbus, Ohio.
My name's Andy Zupan. I'm a senior in biology from Columbus, Ohio.
My name's Mike Cadwallader. I'm a junior, a math and economics major from Indianapolis, Indiana.
My name's Stephen Beach. I'm a sophomore math major from Columbus, Ohio.
All right, thank you, teams. Good luck. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right to our match here, and let's hear a whistle. Was there a whistle? Oh, there's so much noise. There it is, another whistle. Here's your first toss-up.
Good luck.
America's a union of states, Canada of provinces. For 10 points, what nation's a union of 23 cantons?
Washington, Zupan.
That would be Switzerland.
That would be right, yes. All right, 30-point bonus coming up. Almost 30 years after his death, James Dean is still a cult figure. Yet he made only 3 movies. For 5 points, name 1. For 15 points, name 2. Or 30 points for all 3. And I'll take your first 3 answers only.
We have Rebel Without a Cause, we have East of Eden, and we have Giant.
And you have 30 points. All right, another 30-point bonus. Here's your toss-up. Jose Napoleon Duarte was elected president of El Salvador earlier this month. For 10 points, who was his opponent?
Washington, Cadwallader.
D'Aubusson.
D'Aubusson is absolutely right. 30 points are yours now. If you can name this U.S. president after the first clue, 20 points after the second, or 10 points after all 3 clues. First, he was promoted to a lieutenant colonel at 21, then to colonel while in his early 20s.
Eisenhower.
Nope. Second clue, he was neither a Democrat nor a Republican.
Washington.
Taylor.
No, your third clue. His promotion to General of the Armies came in 1976, 177 years after his death.
Washington.
That would be right, and that's 10 points. You got it on the third clue. 3 minutes left as we go to another toss-up. In this tragic novel, Robert Jordan, an American teacher...
Master Sperling.
Hemingway's For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Well, that is not correct. 5-point penalty will expire, and they finished it here. An American teacher volunteers to aid the Spanish loyalists in their fight against the fascist rebels. For 10 points, name the Hemingway novel.
Washington, Toomey.
For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Yes, and when you ring in on a toss-up, you have to answer immediately. All right, another 20-point bonus coming up here for Washington. A Soviet-guided missile destroyer recently attracted U.S. attention when it sailed through the Windward Passage toward Central America. For 10 points apiece, what 2 nations sit on opposite sides of the Windward Passage?
Cuba and the U.S. Cuba, yeah.
We have Cuba and the U.S.
Cuba and Haiti, actually. So half of it again. You get 10 points for that bonus. Another toss-up coming teams. The Pittsburgh Pirates thought he was a hot prospect if he improved his hitting, but as a politician, he's been a big hit. For 10 points, who is this leader of the Empire State?
Washington, Cadwallader.
Mario Cuomo.
He is the governor, and that's correct. All right, this next bonus is a visual bonus, so watch your screen, players. He may be celebrating or he may be ridiculing American middle-class values by erasing the distinction between popular and high culture. For 25 points, which pop artist executed this portrait of Marilyn Monroe?
Andy Warhol.
Yes, that is right. Toss-up for 20-point bonus. Though he won a Nobel Prize for Literature, one of his great passions was mathematics. And his work in that...
Washington, Zupan.
Russell.
Bertrand Russell, yes, you did it. All right, your bonus. Occasionally, nations, like people, change their names. Iran, for example, used to be known as Persia. For 20 points, by what name was Iran known before it was called Persia?
Ionia. Ionia.
Oddly enough, it was Iran again. Nothing for that bonus. Here we go to a toss-up. One president, Abraham Lincoln, and 4 vice presidents, Richard Johnson, John...
Washington, Cadwallader.
They're from Kentucky.
They sure are. Stevenson and Alvin Barkley. Another bonus for 15 points each. Name the major 20th century black American author who wrote first the 1940 novel Native Son.
Right. Richard Wright.
Yes, now the 1955 essay collection Notes of a Native Son.
James Baldwin.
30 points for that bonus. About 30 seconds left. Here's your toss-up. In a last request, he instructed a friend to burn all his writing.
Master Sperling.
Franz Kafka.
Yes, they were not burned, happily. And now you have a bonus coming up. A visual bonus. Watch your screens. Dogs are classified into 6 groups: working, hound, toy, sporting, non-sporting, and terrier. For 5 points, which group includes the Irish setter?
Sporting.
That's right. A collie.
Terrier.
No, that's not right. It's working. Whippet.
Sporting.
No, it's the Hound. And that's as far as we get. We stop at the bonus. You get 1 for 5 points for that. That's the first half whistle. And our score after the first half is Washington U 165 and Vassar 10. We have seen things turn around very quickly here in College Bowl, so we'll see what happens. Before we play that second half, though, it's my pleasure and privilege to introduce a man who, better than anyone, can tell us about this program in its 3 decades. Former College Bowl host and moderator emeritus, you might say, Mr. Robert Earl. Welcome him, please. Bob.
Thank you, Pat. 30 years ago, on October 10th, 1953, an NBC radio announcer stepped up to a microphone and said, "It's time to match wits with the champions." The varsity competition that was about to begin became one of the most popular intercollegiate games in radio and television history. In those early days, College Bowl MC Alan Ludden tossed up questions from an NBC studio in New York, and the 2 competing teams supplied the answers from makeshift studios right on their own campuses. Listen.
Here in Radio City, New York, is your master of the quiz, Alan Ludden.
Hi there, everybody. It's good to have you with us for another intercollegiate battle of the brains. Now, let's get along with the game and meet the teams. First, let's go far above Cayuga's waters to the campus of Cornell University in Ithaca, New York, where Joel Marinas of station WSYR Syracuse will referee for Cornell. Now let's move across for another WSYR man and a good station is WSYR. Bob Whitney, again, is standing by to referee for the Colgate University team.
For the first time ever, College Bowl introduced the toss-up and a lockout system, so when a player hit a button, even thousands of miles away, it activated a light in the Radio City studio in New York and made it impossible for the other team's light to flash. Later, on network television, Alan Ludden continued to host the weekly games.
Point coming up. Here's your toss-up. Strelka and Belka were dogs. Abel and Baker were monkeys. For 10 points, what are Sally and Colorado College Greening?
They are the 3 mice that went up into the air.
Sally, Amy, Mo are mice, and that's the answer. Okay. All right, here you go, Colorado.
In 1962, I took over as moderator, and I have many wonderful memories of College Bowl in those days. On one particular program, the women from a small school in Georgia called Agnes Scott College took on the mighty men of Princeton. Here's how that game ended.
CA laid the basis for the formulation of the law of the conservation of matter. For 10 points, who is said to have formulated the law of conservation of mass and energy?
Agnes Scott Butler.
Einstein. It was Einstein. 10 points, and here's the bonus. Bucephalus and Roan Barbary were steeds. For 20 points, what were Balmung and Durandal?
Swords.
Yes, swords, belonging to Siegfried and Roland. That's it. Time's up. The game is over. We'll validate the final score, and in a moment, announce the winner and award the scholarship grant.
For the Agnes Scott team, that victory was even sweeter because they had beaten a powerful Princeton team. During the 70s, Art Fleming hosted the show, and in 1977, an intramural, intercollegiate, and national championship competition began, officially sanctioned by the Association of College Unions International and its nearly 1,000 college and university members. Every year, tens of thousands of games are played on campuses in all 50 states. College Bowl has won every major award, including the Emmy. The program has been entered into the congressional record as entertainment at its best, and it's the only game ever to win the Peabody Award for outstanding achievement in entertainment and education. And for many years, it's been seen in England, Ireland, Australia, and New Zealand. It's a real privilege for me to be a part of this 30th anniversary celebration of the varsity sport of the mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. All right, it is now time for the second half of our semifinal round here. And remember, right after this game, the winner will play the University of Minnesota for the 1984 College Bowl National Championship. Good luck, players. Here we go. Your toss-up. Americans have won only 9 of the 81 Nobel Prizes for literature, but have done much better in another Nobel category, winning 12 of the 20 prizes awarded.
Washington.
Economics.
Economics is the category, yes. Good start. In 1969, it was renamed the Internal Security Committee, and in 1975, it was abolished. For 20 points, name this controversial committee that helped make Richard Nixon famous.
House Un-American Activities Committee.
Exactly right. 20 points for that. Toss-up playing for a 20-pointer again. Purged in the mid-60s, rehabilitated in 1973.
Washington Beach.
Song.
Deng Xiaoping, yes. Deng is acceptable, and we move on with another 20-point bonus. This native New Yorker with a Spanish surname served for about 21 years as Prime Minister and for 14 years as President of the Republic of Ireland, which he helped create. For 20 points, who is this great Irish patriot?
Answer.
Nope. Eamon de Valera is who we're looking for, and nothing for that bonus. Another toss-up coming for a 30-point bonus this time. A Quiet Place, which premiered last year in Houston, is a sequel to its composer's earlier opera, Trouble in Tahiti. For 10 points, name the composer.
Vassar, Church.
George Gershwin?
No. Can you take it, Washington?
Washington Beach.
Kurt Weill?
No, it's Leonard Bernstein. Nothing for that. Still playing for a 30-point bonus. Here's another toss-up. It was formed in September of 1980, suspended in December of 1981, and abolished in 1982 when it went underground. For 10 points, name the short-lived...
Vassar, Thaler.
Solidarity?
Solidarity, yes, that's right, Vassar. Here's that 30-point bonus we've been looking for. Tom Paine produced The Age of Reason in the 1790s. For 10 points each, what 20th century writers have produced the 1920 novel The Age of Innocence?
Edith Wharton.
Correct. The long 1948 poem The Age of Anxiety?
Auden.
Auden is right, you got it. The 1977 economic work The Age of Uncertainty?
Galbraith.
John Kenneth Galbraith, got them all. An important 30 points for you. Another toss-up now and another 30-point bonus at stake. His latest work encompasses 7 centuries of history in fictional form and has been on the New York Times.
Vassar, Sperling.
Michener.
James Michener. The book was Poland we were going for, and the author we're looking for, and you got it. Here's your bonus for 30 points. The Department of the Treasury runs the U.S. Secret Service. You'll earn 30 points for naming this other cabinet department after 1 clue, 20 points after 2, 10 after 3. First, it runs the United States Maritime Administration.
Transportation.
That's not right. It runs the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
Interior.
No, your third clue. It also runs the Bureau of the Census.
Postmaster.
No, it's Department of Commerce. Nothing for that bonus. Sorry about that. Here's another toss-up. Queen of Troy, wife of Priam.
Washington Beach.
Helen.
No, 5-point penalty. And mother of Hector, Paris, Cassandra.
Vassar, Sperling.
Hecuba.
Hecuba is right. And you have another chance for a 30-point bonus here. Wendell Willkie was the Republican candidate for president in 1940, and Alexander Woollcott was a well-known wit and journalist of the 30s and 40s. Otherwise, they had little in common except difficult-to-spell last names. So for 10 points each, spell Willkie.
Answer, please.
W-I-L-K-E and W-O-O-L-C-O-T-T.
No, neither one is correct. We needed another L in Woollcott and Willkie. There were several letters misplaced, and we won't go over them. We'll save time and go to the next toss-up. Tennis anyone. Since 1975, the United States has won the Davis Cup 5 times, but each of its losses in those years was to the same country.
Washington, Cadwallader.
Australia.
No, 5-point penalty. I'll finish the question. For 10 points, identify that tennis...
Vassar, Thaler.
France.
No, Argentina. Couldn't do that. Still playing for a 20-point bonus. Another toss-up. The United States says it owns it. Canada says it owns a little less than half of it. This maritime controversy has gone to the World Court. For 10 points, what is the name of this disputed bank?
Washington, Cadwallader.
The Grand Banks?
No, that's not right. Can you take it back?
Vassar, Wallentinson. Newfoundland.
That's the George's Bank. Still going for that 20-point bonus. Another toss-up. An Irish orphan meets a Tibetan lama. And time is up. The game is over. We are validating the scores. And we're getting a nod. The final score, Washington University in St. Louis, 195. Vassar, 70. That is the final. That makes Washington U the winner. Congratulations to you. Vassar, you have gone through a lot to get here. And you should be proud of that. You're taking back to your school that $2,500 scholarship. Congratulations on that. And, of course, to Washington U in St. Louis. You've done quite well. You'll be facing University of Minnesota in tonight's championship finals. And it should be a great game from what we've seen so far. I am looking forward to it. And we'll be back to start it right after these words.
Introducing Macintosh. It does all the things you'd expect a business computer to do. It does a lot of things you wouldn't expect a business computer to do. And it does some things no other business computer has ever done before. Of Of course, to do all this, you will have to learn to do this. Macintosh, the computer for the rest of us.
I believe in how I feel, it's largely how I think. I believe how I look, it's what I eat and drink. I believe in Crystal Light, 'cause I believe in me.
New Crystal Light drink mix is sweetened a whole new way. There's no sugar, no saccharin, and no saccharin aftertaste. All these natural flavors taste so terrific.
It's hard to believe there's only 4 calories to a glass.
I believe in Crystal Light, 'cause I believe in me.
Stay tuned as Washington and Minnesota go for the College Bowl National Championship.
Friday is summer loving, summer funnin', and summer action in the movie that's so hot you can get a tan just by watching it. It's Summer Fantasy Friday. Join Bob Hope, Brooke Shields, Mr. T, Johnny Cash, June Carter, David Letterman, John Ritter, and the boxing showdown of the century at the New Orleans World's Fair. Monday.
Let them roll. Right now, Toyota dealers have one of their biggest car and truck selections ever. So to move them all out, they say anything on wheels, deals. Bring in your old car or truck, roller skates, skateboards, anything on wheels can be taken in on trade. Talk about deals on wheels. Trade your baby's buggy on these Corollas. Trade your 3x on a 4x. Anything on wheels deals, even your Toyota dealer. Roll on in now. We're turning wheels into deals. Who took my wagon?
You have to have a strong national defense so that you can keep peace. But in '79, we were way too weak when I first went to Congress to negotiate an arms limitation agreement. That's the reason that I voted for a lot of the things like the B-1, the MX, to get us in a position of equality. And we're reaching that position of equality, the position of parity. And I think by doing that, it puts us in a position that we can now have an arms limitation agreement.
Kent Hance, Texas Vision for America's future.
Is Channel 9 KTSM-TV El Paso.
Now let's get back to College Bowl, where Washington and Minnesota are about to play for the championship.
Well, 2 outstanding teams have made it to the finals, so let's meet them once more. University of Minnesota will ask you to introduce yourselves.
Mark Lacey.
Mark Molinar. Barney Haddon. I'm an alternate for Tina Carlson.
Matt Marta.
All right, and Washington, you?
Kate Toomey.
Andy Zupan.
Mike Cadwallader.
Steve Beach.
Okay, good luck to both these teams as we begin the game that will determine the 1984 College Bowl National Championship. And here's the first toss-up. Local residents were calling it one of the biggest things that ever happened to Fairbanks, as this city of 22,000 virtually doubled its population overnight. Pretend
Washington Beach.
The Alaska Oil Pipeline.
No, a 5-point penalty. I'll finish the question for Minnesota. For 10 points, what newsworthy meeting attracted so many visitors there?
Minnesota Marta.
The President and the Pope.
Yes, that's right. Your bonus. Considered one of the ablest diplomats of this century, he's outlasted 5 U.S. presidents, 6 secretaries of state, and 6 American ambassadors to Moscow. For 25 points, who is this longtime Soviet ambassador to the United States?
Gromyko.
No, that is not correct. It is Anatoly Dobrynin. And we go to another toss-up question. This 19th century Massachusetts woman helped found the National Women's Suffrage Association in 1869.
Washington Toomey.
Elizabeth Cady Stanton.
No, a 5-point penalty. I'll finish it. And later was arrested for attempting to vote. For 10 points.
Minnesota Haddon.
Susan B. Anthony.
That is the lady, yes. All right, another bonus opportunity for you. Ever since Aristophanes, the wasps, and the frogs, playwrights have been writing dramas with animals in the title. I'll name 3 such plays. For 10 points each, tell us who wrote them. First, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof.
Tennessee Williams.
Yes. The Hairy Ape.
Eugene O'Neill. Eugene O'Neill.
Rhinoceros.
UNESCO.
UNESCO is right, and you got all 3. 30 points. Next toss-up. 2 giant publishers were victims of a colossal hoax last year.
Minnesota Haddon.
The Hitler Diaries.
That's what they thought they had. That's right. Another 30-point bonus. Canadians and Americans have many things in common, including a common border. For 10 points each, what is the only Canadian province which borders both Montana and Saskatchewan?
Alberta.
That's correct. Minnesota and Manitoba.
Saskatchewan.
Answer, please.
Ontario.
Ontario's right. Maine and Quebec.
Nova Scotia.
New Brunswick. Yeah, that's 2 out of 3, 20 points for that. And we go to another toss-up, playing for a 20-point bonus. You may not remember who finished 7th in last week's Preakness, but if you remember the winner of this month's Kentucky Derby...
Washington Cadwallader. Time.
Time's up, 5-point penalty, I'll finish it.
Minnesota Marta.
Swale.
I don't have to finish it, that's the horse. All right, another bonus. This is a visual bonus here, so do be looking at your screens. The Great Seal of the United States contains a number of logos and symbols relating to the nation. For 10 points apiece, what 2 symbols does the bald eagle hold in its talons?
We don't have a visual. There are no visuals, Pat.
All right, shall we go to the other... We'll move on to the next bonus. We go on to our next bonus question. This is a 25-point bonus. Here's a test of your gamesmanship. You'll need pencil and paper now. Take the total number of dots on a pair of dice. Subtract the number of players each team sends out on the field in a professional football game. Multiply by the number of squares on a checkerboard. Now look at your numerical answer and tell us for 25 points where the Winter Olympics were held that year.
And
Lake Placid. No, Sarajevo. Your answer would have been 1984. Don't boo, folks. All right, here's your next toss-up. We've all heard that what goes up must come down. But on June 13th, 1983, our space probe Pioneer 10 disproved that, doing something that no other...
Minnesota Marta.
It left the solar system.
It did. Went beyond all the planets. 30-point bonus coming up. Edward Stratmeyer was a man of many talents and many names. He was also one of the most popular American writers. For 10 points each, what popular young heroine did Stratmeyer create under the pen name of Carolyn Keene?
Answer, please.
Sorry. Nancy Drew. What group of young heroes did he create under the pen name of Arthur M. Winfield?
Hardy Boys.
Oh, wrong boys. Rover Boys. Finally, what famous twins did he create under the name of Laura Lee Hope?
Bobbsey twins.
Those were the Bobbseys, yes. 10 points for that bonus. Next toss-up coming for a 25-point bonus. He could be considered the first special delivery mailman because it was he who personally delivered God's message to Mary.
Minnesota Marta.
Gabriel. That she was about to give birth. Yes, Gabriel. We have a visual. Is that all set?
No visuals, Pat.
No visuals? All right, we'll move on. This is a 30-point bonus. You'll earn 30 points for naming this person after the first clue, 20 points after the second, 10 after the third. He is the only person in U.S. history to serve as both Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense.
Time.
Marshall.
Marshall is right. General George C. Marshall got them all. 30 points on the first clue. Another toss-up for another 30-pointer with less than a minute left. Cecil B. DeMille was Anthony Quinn's. Thomas Mann was W.H. Auden's. And Franz Liszt was Richard Wagner's. For 10 points...
Washington Toomey.
Father-in-law.
Yes, they were all father-in-law. That's correct. Okay. Doctors may be notorious for writing badly, but a few have become great authors. For 15 points each, identify these doctors turned writers. First, after his medical internship, he turned to literature and completed the play Lady Frederick and the novel Cakes and Ale.
Mom.
Somerset Maugham. Turning in his scalpel for a pen after receiving his medical certificate in 1815, he composed the poems Hyperion, The Eve of St. Mark, and The Eve of St. Agnes.
That's John Keats.
It is. John Keats. 30 points for that bonus. A 20-pointer coming up. The destroying angel, the devil's that's Boletus, the fly agaric. Well, it didn't matter. It was a long question. Never would have made it. The whistle blew, and that means that this half of our final game is over. Our halftime score, is this score correct, Judge? It is. University of Minnesota 150, Washington University in St. Louis 25. One of these two teams is closer than ever to being the College Bowl champion for this year. Come on back.
Washington and Minnesota will be right back to finish the championship match on College Bowl.
You'll find great savings on just about everything you need for painting at Sears Great American Memorial Day Paint Sale. Save $7 to $8 on Sears Easy Living Interior Satin Flat and Weather Beater Exterior Flat. On sale now for just $8.99 and $9.99 a gallon. Save 20 to 50% on items like an airless sprayer, paint brushes, and Sears Best Paint Roller. All at the Memorial Day Paint Sale.
There's more for your life.
On sale now
At Sears.
It did fool me. I would have sworn that it was sugared gum.
Tastes so good.
I was surprised that this was Trident sugarless gum.
Taste the one.
It's a long-lasting flavor.
Taste the one that'll win you over. To sugarless gum.
4 out of 5 dentists surveyed recommend sugarless gum for their patients who chew gum.
Trident sugarless gum has a great taste. It wouldn't hurt my teeth.
Taste the one that'll win you over. To sugarless gum.
I think it's outstanding.
Sometimes when I'm blue, I stop a while and think of you. With your button-fly Levi's, 501 jeans, how good it seems. Your jeans string to you, and it makes me smile to think what you do. In your personal fit, Levi's button-fly 501 blues.
It takes good people to save lives. Dedicated people willing to sacrifice a lot. The people of St. Elsewhere. Let them share their lives with you tonight.
Thursday, Nell's bound for love when girls' night out leads to a wild romance on Give Me a Break. Then Alex goes to jail for equal rights.
I am a woman.
But will hard times in the Slammer turn into good times for Alex on Family Ties?
Thursday. Don't miss it. It'll be a crime.
Last half, dig-in teams, good luck to you. We have a whistle? I thought so. Here's your toss-up. Lord Byron wrote about him in Don Juan, and John...
Washington, Zupan.
Child Herald.
No, 5-point penalty. And John Filson recounted his exploits in the Discovery, Settlement, and Present State of Kentucky. For 10 points, who was this famous frontiersman and Indian fighter?
Minnesota Haddon.
Daniel Boone.
Daniel Boone is right. That gives you a shot at a 20-point bonus. Dorothy Parker wrote... Guns aren't lawful, nooses give. Gas smells awful, you might as well live. Certain fictional characters have not heeded her advice. For 5 points apiece, how did each of these title heroines do themselves in? Madame Bovary.
Answer, please.
Poison. Hedda Gabler.
Shot herself.
Yes. Anna Karenina.
Answer, please.
Poison.
Jumped in front of a train. She may have been poisoned at the time. Maggie, a girl of the streets.
Answer, please.
That's it. Time's up. 1 on that. She was drowned, by the way.